We have really seen those conditions deteriorate through the past hour or so. In fact, just take a look behind me at that street light. You can not only see that snow coming down really heavy, but it is not coming down straight at all.
As we go through the night, though, that's when things start to get a little bit more interesting. That cooler air continues to work in, and you're noticing that change from green to a little bit of a pink. That is more of a wintry mix. So we're talking about some rain and some sleet mix again, likely a little bit after midnight. You're out tailgating before the game or just celebrating the final day of classes. Even during the typical heat of the afternoon, we're talking about feels like temperatures well into the 20s. Sitting in parts of southwestern Augusta County, basically right over Craigsville. So if you're in Craigsville and you hear me saying that things are starting to quiet down and you're looking outside, you're a little confused, but I promise this will be going away sometime soon. Supermoon relates to the lunar orbit around the Earth. The moon is constantly rotating around the Earth, but not in a perfect circle. When the moon is furthest away from the Earth, it's known as an apogee. When that temperature is closer to that freezing mark, 32 degrees, you get that heavier, that wetter, that stickier snow and those lower ratios. However, the colder it gets, the higher the ratios go up. And I can tell you, standing out here, it is pretty cold with temperatures right around 20 degrees. Once you get into major hurricane territory, the damage caused by the winds becomes much more significant. And a Category 4 and 5 storm is capable of producing devastating, if not catastrophic damage. Maybe just push it off a couple hours, because by 8 a.m. we're already seeing those temperatures warm up to around freezing and even a little bit above. But the ground is still very cold from the past couple days. So even if the air temperature is a little above freezing, there's a chance we can still see some slick spots out on the roadways. We call these training thunderstorms, one right behind the other, kind of going over the same area. And that is what we're talking about when it comes to a flash flood risk. On a very dry day or a day with low humidity, evaporation is a lot more efficient, meaning that your body can cool more easily. But on a humid day, since there's already more moisture in the air, evaporation is a lot less efficient, so more sweat will stay on your body, making you actually feel warmer. We're going to continue to see that wind right on through the night, and with that wind coming from the northwest, upslope snow. We've been talking about it for the past couple of days. We're going to continue to see that right on through Friday, and it's going to be windy here in the valley with the potential for even some of those flurries to make it into our area. Not everywhere, but some places picking up quite a bit of it. We mentioned kind of the bullseye look to remain just to the north and east of the area. Well, it turned out to be just that. Winchester up I-81 coming up with nearly 4 inches of rainfall today alone. By the time it's all said and done, waking up on Friday, we could be looking at our first dusting to an inch of snow across the valley floor. Higher amounts across the higher elevations, maybe 1 to 3 inches, and off in the Allegheny front, maybe around the Elkins, West Virginia area, potentially 3 to 6 inches. So this inversion can actually act as a cap or a lid to the atmosphere, meaning that some of the sound wave can be blocked and sent back to the surface, not only allowing the thunder to be heard from further away, but also sound louder to anyone on the ground. Now, at the onset, it's possible a few wet snowflakes could mix down, especially at the higher elevations, but we're talking about surface temperatures above freezing, which is the key word there, because we're not expecting any icy spots early tomorrow morning. If anything, just some wet roads for your morning commute. And we're talking hats, gloves, scarves, the works if you're heading out and cheering on the Dukes on Friday. So the football team and the Marching Royal Dukes are both taking extra measures to prepare for this cold, and so should you. Now, because cool air is heavier than warm air, gravity says it must fall. This pocket of cool air will then descend towards the ground, picking up speed as it goes. Eventually, it will hit the surface of the earth and spread out in either direction. These are downbursting winds. Just going to be a very cloudy, foggy, kind of misty night. So as you're waking up for your Friday morning, in addition to the wet roads, reduced visibility is certainly an issue as well. I would definitely leave yourself a lot of extra time for your Friday morning commute.
Hey guys, I'm only a couple feet away from the station right now, and the reason for that is because I wouldn't feel safe being much further away. We have really seen those conditions deteriorate through the past hour or so. In fact, just take a look behind me at that street light. You can not only see that snow coming down really heavy, but it is not coming down straight at all. That wind has really started to pick up. I've been out here for a lot of the afternoon and evening. I can say without a doubt this is the heaviest the snow has come down. This is the strongest the wind has come down as well. And sort of something that's been on the back burner a little bit. We've been talking about the incredible amounts of snow, but let's talk about the wind chill factor. It is very cold out here with temperatures in the teens across much of the region. And when you combine that wind, it is feeling more like 0 degrees or lower. So hypothermia, frostbite, certainly an issue. We've been advising no travel. And part of the reason for that is because if you get stranded well, there's no guarantee that help is going to get to you in a timely manner, and it can turn deadly for some of you. Let's also talk about those pets. Obviously, the dogs are going to have to get outside and relieve themselves, but certainly don't leave them out for any longer than they have to be. This is as dangerous for them as it is for us as well. So we've been talking about the potential of a life-threatening winter storm for the past few days. I can honestly say now that, yeah, we are starting to see those conditions here. Now, for a check-in on how it's looking a little bit further down in the Shenandoah Valley, WHSV's Devin Turk is live in Stanton with an update for us there. Devin?
Sunset looked better just a couple seconds ago, but you can see that setting on the horizon with a few clouds overhead. This is a live look from our Charlie Oboe Skycam over Massanutten. Those clouds certainly a sign of some changes to come in our weather, but temperature-wise, it's still pretty comfortable for mid-January, especially this time of the day. 52 degrees outside. We did make it back up into the middle 50s, which is still a little bit cooler than what we were late last night, but that northeast wind, notice that is a sign of some cooler weather working in. Also an important number right now, the dew point. The bigger the difference between the dew point and temperature, the drier the air is, and it's dry right now at the surface, meaning that some of the initial precipitation we're expecting may actually hold up just a little bit longer. In fact, our first alert radar satellite is trying to show maybe a little bit of rain falling across the northern valley, but again, it is so dry, likely most, if not all of this is evaporating before it hits the ground. Haven't had any reports yet of any precipitation reaching the surface, but that will likely be changing within the next couple of hours. Most of the rain, though, is continuing off to the west of us, parts of Kentucky, the Ohio Valley dealing with that right now. Further off to the west across Indiana and Illinois, we're looking at a little bit of a wintry mix and some ice, and that will be the story as we go on through the night. Temperatures still pretty mild today, even as a cold front crossed the area. Typically when this happens, we usually see the coldest air kind of lagging behind a bit, and we're certainly seeing that right now. But you can see off to the north and west, much cooler air, even sub-freezing temperatures, while we're still enjoying the 50s and even 60s across much of the Commonwealth. But some of that cooler air starting to encroach over the mountains as we speak. Our Highland counties already down into the middle 40s, 47 Petersburg, 45 Moorfield, 49 Franklin, but you can see here in the valley and points to the east still in the 50s right now, which is good news because it means any initial precipitation that does get here will be starting in the form of just liquid rain. So we're going to spend some time here on our hour-by-hour forecast doing a good job showing those clouds overhead, and here comes the initial shot of a little bit of rain right around 9 p.m. showing maybe a little bit of a wet snow potential, the highest elevations, but again, most of what will start to fall will be in the form of rain as temperatures continue to stay in the lower to middle 40s by 9 p.m. As we go through the night, though, that's when things start to get a little bit more interesting. That cooler air continues to work in, and you're noticing that change from green to a little bit of a pink. That is more of a wintry mix. So we're talking about some rain and some sleet mixing in, likely a little bit after midnight, and maybe even a little bit of snow in the far northern valley as we go towards morning. This is, I think, when we're most vulnerable as those temperatures kind of bottom out right around that freezing mark. So first thing in the morning, we're watching the potential for a little bit of a rain-sleet mix, maybe even a freezing drizzle, especially at the higher elevation. So the worst time tomorrow, especially to be out on the roads, will likely be first thing in the morning, as this turns to just a little bit more of a rain drizzle as we go through the rest of the morning through the afternoon. Still a cool, cloudy, damp day with temperatures only warming into the lower 30s, and we'll continue to hang on to those clouds and maybe even a little drizzle through the evening and overnight hours. So really not the best day in general to be outside tomorrow, but again, it's the morning hours we are going to be most concerned with as we continue with those clouds overnight and on into Sunday. So a little bit of an interesting map right here of a potential maybe for a coating of snow, extreme northern valleys, maybe Hardy, Shenandoah, Page County, and the pink you see here right along the Blue Ridge and off to the west our Highland counties. Potential for some ice, maybe up to 1/10 or 2/10, which is a very significant amount. Here in the valley, a little bit less of an impact, but first thing in the morning, a little bit of a sleet or ice glaze not out of the question. So really anywhere you are tomorrow, especially early in the morning, going to be a rough go, especially out on those roads. It does get a little bit better, though, as we go through the afternoon. We have gone yellow alert on your Blue Mountain Plumbing and Heating 7-day forecast for tomorrow, especially in the morning hours, but really just a cool and damp weekend through and through. Sunday, not a whole lot better with temperatures just in the upper 30s and some drizzle still possible at times. Martin Luther King Day Monday starting off with maybe a few rain showers before turning a little bit milder midweek and then turning a bit warmer by the end of the week. So certainly a roller coaster ride, if you want to call it that. Near 70 degrees yesterday to some ice potential tomorrow morning. So abrupt return to winter. And it's the first thing in the morning. That's going to be kind of the biggest issue. I know a lot of people are amped up for the JMU parade and just getting out and enjoying the weekend. If you just maybe wait a few hours, that would be better off there, as you heard some of those driving tips earlier from Justin. So certainly do be extra careful early tomorrow.